We used to think the only thing more important than the loving touch of another human being was blowing solid objects to pieces. That was until we found out that Red Faction Armageddon not only lets you blow stuff up, but then lets you magically rebuild it before blowing it up again. That's progress. We caught up with Lord of Destruction Jim Boone, project lead on the Rectastic adventure.
So I've been involved with Red Faction Armageddon since the beginning, since the very first day. In fact, I was the first person to join the project. There were two other people that were with me, my art director and my design director, and that would have been in October of 2007, I think it was. So this is just a very small group of us that got together at that point in time where Red Faction Guerrilla was still in development. And we were just in the very beginning phase of trying to figure out what is the next game going to be.
Early on in the story, new hero Darius accidentally unleashes an ancient alien horror on the colonists, making him the least popular man on Mars. Jim tells us how the team worked hard to find a new direction for the series.
One of the things that we always used to talk about is that on Mars, there are only so many ways that we can make it look different because it's Red Rock Mars. And so we spent a lot of time early on trying to think about what kinds of different things can we do artistically with the world with my art director, and then with my design director we spent a lot of time thinking about different mechanics. What types of enemies can we have in the world? What types of new things will we have with those enemies? What types of weapons can we build? And how do those weapons take full advantage of the destruction engine?
So Red Faction Armageddon isn't just an excuse to smash things up and hurl them at screeching aliens, but the option's there if you want it. The whole planet can be smashed up, stripped bare and used as projectiles thanks to the futuristic warlockery of the magnet gun. Tell us about your new toy, Jim.
When we were first working on the Red Faction series and the destruction engine, we actually had a scenario there where, from a tech standpoint, we were just trying to figure out if we could do something different and interesting with our technology. And one of our programmers came up with this idea of doing destruction. And we all thought it sounded kind of interesting, but we weren't quite sure what it was going to look like or how it was going to work or anything like that. And finally got it working, and the scenario was you were in this flying machine. You could fly around, and there was a small mining laser that would stick out in front of you at a short distance. And you would be able to fly along, and you would actually destroy one wall after another just real time as you're flying along. And the moment all of us got our hands on that, we realized at that moment, my God, destruction, this is the most amazing thing ever. So flash forward into Red Faction Armageddon. In terms of our eureka moment, without a doubt for us, I think that everyone on the team would probably agree with this, that it was the magnet gun. And this is pretty much our signature weapon for the game. It's the ability to, it's very simple to use. You fire your first projectile at a target, fire the second projectile where you want that target to fling off to. So that means you could shoot it off in the side of a wall, and the wall will fling into whatever enemy that you target from there. Or you can grab an enemy and fling it into the side of a building and let it kind of crush into the side of the building. It's very creative, the kinds of uses that you can have with it.
More than ever, the destruction isn't just technical showing off. It's an important part of each level, with massive structures that buckle and break underneath Darius, and gangways that must be rebuilt with the nanoforge as he runs over them like a magical Constructo Jesus. Jim explains how the completely destructible work can sometimes confuse and scare players.
We have all been working with destruction forever. We've been working on the Red Faction series, some of us, for over a decade now. And so some of the things that we may come up with from a design standpoint will be second nature for us. And then what we'll find out as we start to get some testing done on it is that people have no context or no understanding of what it is they're supposed to do because it's destruction and it's just not second nature to them like it is for us. And so a lot of times what we'll have is the designers will have to think about not just the scenario and how we can take advantage of destruction and do something completely new and unique with it, but they also have to think about how can they do it in a way that allows the player to clearly understand what it is they have to do, but to also feel clever in the sense that they have determined how they want to do it.
One thing that does bother us is the underground setting, which looks about as much fun as eating sand in the dark. But the team's doing their best to keep things varied. So why did Volition take the game underground?
About 80% of the game or so takes place below ground versus above ground. We still do have above ground in our game. But what it's allowed us to do is, by being below ground, it gives us a chance to be able to build items on the walls or on the ceilings. So we have a destructive world, you have the opportunity to have these things fall apart in some pretty different and unique ways rather than just being destructive areas that are just on the flat ground. So design has had a lot of fun coming up with different scenarios based on the placement of these destructibles. we wanted to come up with a lot of different palettes, a lot of different environments to really make you feel like you're having the hero's journey where you're progressing from one distinct environment to the next. And that can be everything from magma to ice. It can be everything from water filtration plants to bustling cities. It's just a lot of different environments to really make you, kind of want to explore this world and see what's around the corner.
Thanks, Jim. Having got our dusty-covered work gloves on Armageddon, we're hot for the game's release in May. Until then, we'll be smashing up your shed in the name of Mars.